Ray Kopecka and Loma Wharton come up. They're the two managers of the National Constitutional Sheriff's Association. They're going to discuss with you this solution that occurred out of Arizona. So I'll turn it over to you guys.
Thanks everyone for coming, and if I could get all the wives of these sheriffs to stand up, please. Because you're the ones that deserve a round of applause. Without your support and patience, they couldn't do what they do, and they really do need your support and patience. NCSA was founded because of several of the sheriffs up here and some that couldn't be with us today. And National Constitutional Sheriff's Association is designed to educate these guys, keep them informed, keep them on top of issues, so that when they have to present, they have all of the documentation and information that they need in order to beat them at their own game. John was one of the first to use us a while back regarding something with Fish and Game. Hopefully that went well. And Bruce recently turned us on to a gentleman, which has been an absolutely amazing trip over the last 2 months. Bruce, how do you find these people?
Just show up at all the meetings.
There you go. Doyle Shamley is the Natural Resources Director in Apache County, Arizona. Prior to that, he spent 25 years researching this information regarding statehood, SR 2477, and a lot of the other issues regarding federal, state, and local jurisdiction. When he presented to his county commissioners, who were a full panel of attorneys, which is like talking to a brick wall, he was amazed at the reply. Now, this wasn't something that we were unfamiliar with. We were quite familiar with the process, the information, the laws, etc., but we hadn't put it together in a nice, neat little package. When he was finished with his commissioners, they were dumbfounded. Their mouths hit the floor, and they said, "We have no other choice but to move forward. There's nothing else that we can do. Otherwise, we'll look like fools." So they did. Apache County is now harvesting, not thinning, not cleaning, not doing brush and slash, harvesting and selling boardfoot. Their next project is over 150,000 acres. Not only that, but their regional U.S. Forest Service director and them, who were at one time at odds, now the discussions about the next harvest, which we believe will be well over 200,000 acres. Oh, and they also have their fire break-in, and the spotted owls are coming back, and all of the rest of the wildlife is coming back, okay? The biggest thing they argue about now is eating too much of the salsa and having to get more at lunch. Wouldn't that be nice? To have a gentleman's agreement, to work together like we should work together, instead of pounding our heads against a brick wall with all this coordination and cooperation and everything else that just confuses me to no end. We have the jurisdiction, the lawful authority in our counties to do this. It's not going to be easy, and it does take all of the elected officials in the county to be on board. To make that happen takes each and every one of you. And that's what is so important about your participation on a local level. We cannot do anything about the feds to any major degree. I'm not saying don't try. I'm not saying don't work at it. That's important too. But the real power lies, just as everybody here today has said, with the people on the local level. If we take back our states one county at a time, we can do it in 4 years. 4 years guys. It's taken us over 100 to get here. It's been by gradual and silent usurpations. We have got to stand up. We've got to unelect those that are not complying with the Constitution, that are not upholding their oaths of office, that do not have the best interest of the people and the economy at heart. And that's what NCSA does. We make sure that these guys have the education, because education is power, information is power. They need that. We've got a couple of things going on today. Loma's holding the books from the upcoming convention, I believe, and a DVD set and a CD which will be presented with 400 state and U.S. Supreme Court cases that have never been overturned. Never. This is a legal and lawful process. The other thing that has occurred too is that they now also receive, on top of the monies that they get at their county for the privatized work that they do, they are receiving their federal benefits also, because the feds are under contract. If they breach it, they get sued. They realized that the people they were dealing with knew what they were talking about, and that was the next step. So the director of the U.S. Forest Service went to the powers that be, so to speak, and said, you know, really not worth the fight. Otero County has moved forward in a different fashion. They were sabotaged by their county council. This is the other reason NCSA exists. It's a separate place for these guys to go to get information, because they're getting a lot of misinformation. Their county council sabotaged them. He's subsequently been fired. They are being sued. I'm sure some of you have heard that, and they are ever so pleased to be the defendant in this case. Once the precedent is set after this, and they are trying to negotiate, and Otero is saying, I don't think so. You guys brought it. We're going to take it all the way. And you know what? Not only are we going to do that, we're going to file a nuisance suit. And so they have. They wanted to play ball. Otero was ready to play ball. And this is what we have to all be prepared to do. And again, this is what NCSA does. We make sure that these guys are provided with what they need to do their jobs and to follow through on everything that they've told you today. I want to give you an idea of what they're dealing with and why it's so important for you to get involved on a local level. Sheriff Hagwood, who a lot of you know from Plumas County, just went through a horrific fire, CHIPS fire, over 70,000 acres, which they let burn. It started as 4,000 acres, which the volunteer fire department could have put out, but the Forest Service said, no, it's on our land, we'll take care of it. Yeah, good job, guys. That is going to be a major issue. Dean Wilson has pointed out on several occasions that if you control water, you control life. This fire has damaged the headwaters that service, I believe it's 4 or 5 counties. When the rains come and the waters start running, cleaning that silt and ash, making it usable water, is an incredibly expensive process. And if you don't know how to deal with the fine print of the U.S. Forest Service and the wildfires issues, which was how Bruce met Doyle, who's our key presenter at the October convention, well, it's going to bankrupt some of those counties. And that's their next step. That's part of the usurpations that are going on. But at one of Sheriff Hagwood's meetings regarding budget, which every one of these guys have talked about, they wanted to cut him by another $1.7 million. They also accused him of basically stashing $1 million. He proved that that wasn't the case and got a public apology. When he was going over his budget with them, they asked him about a particular portion of federal funds, and he said, that's for illegal aliens. Well, what do you use that money for? Well, we use it for support. We use it for ammunition, we use it for flak jackets, we use it for safety items. One of his county commissioners actually asked, what is ammunition? Oh my God. It took everything in his power, I'm sure, to keep a straight face. Well, ma'am, it's the bullets that we put in our guns. Her response, to shoot illegal aliens with? This is on record. It's public record, folks. This is what they're dealing with, and she was just reelected to office. This is why it's important to get involved. Start your neighborhood watch groups. Get involved in your local precincts. It doesn't matter what party, just get involved. Know what your commissioners are doing. Hold them to the mat. Each of these guys have said, you don't like the job they're doing, get them out. That's up to us. They have no control over that. We've got to do that. And that's why it's so important to do it on a county level. October 7th, late registration begins the 25th, that's Wednesday. October 7th, 8th, and 9th in Reno, Nevada, we are bringing Doyle Shamley from Veritas Research Consulting, Representative Ken Ivory from Utah, whose governor just signed in their statehood bill, Sheriff Dedman from Arizona also will be there. A couple of the county commissioners from Apache County will be there, and Bill Howe, who is an expert on SR 2477 and statehood. This is going to be an intensive 8-hour workshop. If you or anyone you know is a large landowner, rancher, cattleman, or having issues with any of the alphabet agencies currently, we strongly recommend that you be there. These are answers to the problem, not addressing or putting a Band-Aid on the symptoms. This gets to the core of the issue. They have had no interference from any of the government agencies or from any of the environmentalists. And it was it's because of how it was handled. It is irreproachable. It is all based in law. The Sierra report that you saw up that Gil did was because of Arizona County. And the last testimony that Doyle gave to the Federal Commission on Natural Resources, he started bringing up and hinting about the statehood issues. And what ended up happening is that he was contacted by the Commission on Foreign Affairs. Why would the Commission on Foreign Affairs want to contact him? Because as you've heard today from a couple of these gentlemen, they understand that every state is an independent nation state. We are making an impact. There is hope. Regardless of what happens in this November election, don't ever think that there's not. Because the power still lies with the people no matter what. But we've got to wake up and we've got to be active. Thank you.
You know, that solution pretty much set the stage. It went to Washington, D.C., and folks in Washington, D.C. agreed. They thought this ought to be a standard to go out to the rest of the country. So the precedence has already been laid out. It's just a matter that we need to pursue it. It all hinges upon your county commissioners. They need to they have standing. They need to take a position on this if you convince them this is the right thing to do. But my comment would be, encourage them to attend this, encourage them to at least find out what this is all about, whether it's good or bad or not for your particular community. Yes? Go ahead. Oh, fundraising for NCSA. There is some stuff here, and you're welcome to talk to them about it. I'm not going to ask for the money. It is a not-for-profit organization, and they're looking for donations. They do have some stuff for sale over here. I will say this. I bought one of these wallets, okay? And I've got one of these cards that I can swipe on the gate and it opens the gate for me at the jail. Well, now every time I want to go in there, I have to take it out of my wallet because the damn thing works so well. But people can't read, if they got a scanner, they can't read your cards. So it works, trust me. Okay,